It was a magical summer. Noah was a country boy. Allie was from the city. They met the night of the carnival. They had nothing in common, but after seeing Allie that night, something inside Noah snapped.
Will you go out with me?
No!
No? Damn, my hand's slipping.
Okay, fine. I'll go out with you.
No, don't do me any favors.
No, I want to.
Say it again.
I want to go out with you!
All right, we'll go out.
They fell in love, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
You want to dance with me?
Sure.
This is a good story. I think I've heard it before.
It's like a dream.
So what do you do, Noah?
I work at the lumber yard.
How much do you make at your job?
40 cents an hour?
It has got to stop.
Noah?
He's a nice boy, but he is not for you.
I don't see how it's gonna work.
You are not to see him anymore, and that's final.
From the best-selling novel by Nicholas Sparks
Oh, miss. How's about that date?
comes a story
It's normal not to forget your first love, but I want you for myself. Marry me.
about what we long for,
I saw your picture in the paper, and I just wanted to see if you were okay.
what we settle for,
I have a fiance waiting for me.
What happened? Who did you choose?
and who we're meant for.
Why didn't you write me? I waited for you for 7 years.
I wrote you every day for a year.
New Line Cinema presents Ryan Gosling, Rachel McAdams, James Garner, Jenna Rollins, James Marsden, with Sam Shepard and Joan Allen in a Nick Cassavetes film.
I read to her, and she remembers.
Into the starred Frey, Hans Zimmer booming. I actually watched the entirety of Interstellar's waiting for earplugs brought along for that purpose, because Chris Nolan movies, like that metal concert, are best attended wearing some sonic safety gear, especially if the film is being screened in IMAX, as Interstellar will be in some theater when it opens November 7. The earplugs came in the laundry right away in their gloriously short opening cornfield sequences, in which equally gorgeous singer Brad Cooper and his children Tom and Worf chase a descending drone until it crashes in a field, then toss into the back of their truck to take it part of the salvage. The exact texture of the fantastic dystopia Cooper and his kids inhabit takes a while to establish itself, and in fact never fully emerge into relief. We are given no explanatory Sam's or backstory, furnishing voiceover and Walt Cooper, his children and his gentle father, John, live in looks externally very similar to our own. There are cars and computers, functioning school and governments, even organized games of what appear to be minor league baseball. But gradually we learned that some time ago that Arnold Soul stopped sporting any crop field is about to die out. The storms kicked up by this erosion of topsoil due to worldwide blight critically ravaged the land. The human population is on a mathematically charitable course toward extinction. As another character grimly observed to Cooper at one point, their children's generation is likely to be the last to survive. Cooper, who was once a crack spaceship pilot, gets recollected, or depending how you look at it, into a top-secret exploratory mission organized by what remains of NASA, an institution that had to go underground in an era in which, for some reasons, official ideology insists that the moon landing was faked. Better not let Buzz Aldrin hear you say that. There's no planned future. After an accumulation of seemingly supernatural coincidents that would be too sprawling to reveal even if I could understand them, Cooper agrees to take the job. It will mean leaving his children behind on a rapidly falling planet. He is assured by NASA or Chief Dr. Brian Michael that somewhere near Saturn, scientists have located inner disturbance in space-time. It may be the human race's only hope of keeping to a wormhole and locating a habitable planet in the otherwise impossibly distant galaxy. Get used to hearing about that what wormhole because we become the circus of Interstellar, the intraffic club around which the film's various plot lines which whip his interesting circle after aggressively tearing himself away from his family. Copper sets out of Saturn, away that because the effect of relatively on the passage of time. He may not find his way back through the wormhole to out before his children, lifespan or being loved. If he survives his trip at all, time with assurance like oxygen or food. He explained to his crew, pressing on them the importance of quickly gathering data on the three possible planets they are investigating as replacement Earth. Meanwhile, back on the regular Earth, Tom and Morph grow into adult played by Casey Affleck and Jessica Chastain for any year's day. Siblings maintain the hope that their father will return, but eventually Tom's video message, which take years to be relayed remotely to Copper in deep space, and to which he can respond trickle to a despairing heart. As for Morph, she can't forgive her dad for abandoning his own children, even if to serve the human race. Cooper's fellow crew on the Endurance consists of planetary scientist Amelia Brandt, Anne, Romy Lee David, and pilot Joel. There is also a pair of affable mount-shaped reports, case and towers, both hydraulic puppet, operated by the actor and clown Billy Lehman. What happens on the ship is far less dramatically interesting than it ought to be, given the mind-blending experience that is for human and two machines go through together. At one point, a pair of explorers return from what seems like an afternoon worth of adventure to find their crewmates unfortunately transformed. Still, the movie's middle third is visually and technically breathtaking, and two back-to-back planetary exploration sequences of staggering beauty and skill. One world has water, overwhelming amount of it, critically rising up in tidal waves the size of mountain. Another is all edged, hugely cold rock faces with one surprising sign of life. MC makes for a rakish existential hero, waking his duty to humanity against his devotion to his kind kids while taking time to assure his crewmate in the Robert mission trial of his dad. He has the plotting jobs to the singing around the neutron star and the illusion. The rest of the cast, including the vastly overqualified Chastain in one note role as a resentful wronged daughter, swings around the neutron star that is MC. Himself, no one gives a bad performance, but he cast never goes less into an ensemble hardware. Character in particular seems indistinctly imagined with hints of painful past love story that's never fully explored. The perfect last act of the Interstellar, which contains at least three described moments that could easily have been ending but are not, ties the outer space plot up with the meanwhile back at the range one via development that's at once metaphysical and sort of seemingly scientific. The theoretical physics cape Toron was a consultant. How you feel about the movie? Man, hang your reaction to his scene about his wish. I say only that, like the end of 2001. A space odyssey, it takes place in a space that seems to exist in a between the familiar wood we know and some strange alternate dimension. Going back over and over this crucial moment with fellow critic on the train home, I could make no sense of it where was the encounter meant to be taking place, what laws of the universe or if human relationships stated proper to be disclosed. But the scene of visual and spatial wonder this scene evoked in me lingered long after, accompanied by their bargaining respect for the Nolans' sheer commitment to their own specular blend of visionary hokum. If you will allow me for a moment, I want to take you back to 2014, the year of Alan, Oscar Selfie, the Ice Bucket Challenge, and yes, Christopher Nolan's sci-fi epic in such a. As I sat on in the inception of Nolan's latest, I wondered what was about to unfold before me. I had mostly situated clear of the marketing with only its initial trailer, which remains in the focus to show all waste art and the natural phenomenon closing in on MC Cooper as my guide. Almost 3 hours later, I left the cinema feeling good, bemused, and ultimately disappointed despite its scope and outstanding image visual. I thought Interstellar was too long, overly sentimental, and falling on from its too bursty Dark Knight Rises 2 years prior left me wondering if Nolan and lost his magic touch. At 20, I barely gave Interstellar a second thought, rediscovering it afresh 10 years later at 30. Thanks in part to being more actually aware of the passage of time. I see it now for what is really Christopher Nolan's best, most emotionally affecting work, revolving around a dying Earth and the effort to save its people. Former NASA pilot Cooper sets off for the stars in Interstellar alongside Dr. Amelia Brandt in search of more hospitable planet, but most must leave his young daughter more behind. Most Nolan films have big idea, big emotion, and big set pieces, but almost never all three. Inception comes close. Its mind-blending premise, spanning top ending, and treatment of Marion, Ma leaves the dream, his thriller feeling slightly less satisfying than desired. Interstellar created Trump is that achieve all of this. Fast mission for all of the criticism. Lead against Nolan one sticks out. His movies can like hurt and be slightly unfeeling by their nature. That's simply not true of Interstellar, which immediately anchor the movie as a sweet family piece including a young Timothy Calmwood peeping of a new lines as Cobb's own Tom. Interstellar came from a very personal place. Nolan says in Tom's shown essential book, The Nolan Variation, there is a reason. After all, why the working title for Interstellar is 4 hours later, a reference to his 10-year-old daughter. From that starting point, Interstellar transcode galaxies and takes in all manner of unknownable and hostile environment but, at its very core, remains steadfast in its emotional message. Copper is fighting to save what's awaiting for him back home on his ranch. That's why Interstellar peaks set pieces hit so hard. In past and future Nolan's movie, director would do everything from crashing Oriole being 747 to flipping rooms literally upside down for his bombastic sequences. Here the big moment lands with a similar, but it's a gut punch rather than an explosion. Even our 21st century cinema final scene, which you can watch here in full. MC Cope returned from a planticide vision, having lost year of his life due to the time dilation. Is there where he is met by videos of an adult played by Jessica growing up over a decade. Encompassing with thanks in part to Nolan's personal touch, bringing out a very last drop of feeling. MC delivers an etchingly beautiful and devastating response to those missing gear. Celine's Morpheus and performance rightly received, but it's gonna have a moment like this. Hope is not just giving that DSR be lost, he's giving the uniquely complex feeling as he realizes he wasn't able to grow old alongside Morph. The emotion had not set pieces are set strong enough to get spelled. This is the top of any Nolan's fans ranking, but it's the director's playful experimentation with space and time that really seals the deal. Case in point, Interstellar's ending featured an all-timer of a twist, one that only enriches subsequent viewing as Scope ends his mission by traveling into a 2001 SQ wormhole. It's revealed that the ghost's first scene earlier in the movie that kickstarted his voyage are revealed to be Cope communicating to himself via a four-dimensional plan. The magic of Interstellar, much like his final episode in his day, is about the vast impetuous and loneliness of space at the same time. It's an intimate story about a father and daughter. Nolan threads an impossible needle, achieving what large in part thanks to wielding together his past experiences on big Hollywood blockbuster and all the scale that comes with it, and by creating his niche there by presenting audiences with rare thing, $165 story about Nolan's own guilt in leaving his daughter behind to go to work. So yes, hands up, I was wrong. Interstellar is Christopher Nolan's final step to that in body of work that encompasses the best superhero movie ever made, a Best Picture winner, and a daring Hollywood debut in Memento. That thinks I'm doing, but Nolan's aimed for the stars and succeeded in his mission. It just took me a decade to realize that. She happily paid his price for the rare comedy. I mean, she said for a film that came out a decade ago. In secondary markets online, tickets to Christopher Nolan's 2014 space epic had been listed for weeks for as much as 2015. After 166 IMAX again sold out for the duration of the releases last weekend, Interstellar pulled in $4.57 million domestically, more than any Noah movie at all, $27,500 million higher per second, average than top grosses Mona 2 and Wicked. Demand is so high, in fact, that IMAX is expanding the theater count for next weekend. The accomplishment is the latest example of low legacy film has swung back in fashion at the cinema, as studio look to the leverage layered laboratory theater and exhibitor face a post-pandemic, post-strike Hollywood with fewer tentpole movies per year, separate from small repertory runs in the boutique theater, often compromising just one or two showing. At least 27 legacy films were released in 2014-24 into more than 100 domestic theater. In many cases, more than 100 grossing more than 90 million total. Chief among them, like a 2009 stop-motion animated film, Coraline, which grossed a stunning $36.6 million domestically when it was put back into the theater in August through Fathom event. A joint venture of AMC, Regal and Cinemark, Fathom has specialized in targeted repertoire releases since 2005. AMC, Regal and Cinemark Fathom is top grosser ever. Tops a winning streak for the company, which took in $74 million from its 2024 legacy releases in total and increases of 3 line from 2012 to 2. She happily paid his price for the real community, a maintained seat for a film that came out a decade ago. In secondary market online, tickets to Christopher Nolan's 2014 space epic had been listed for weeks for as much as after 166 IMAX again sold out for the duration for the real release. Last weekend, Interstellar pulled in $4.77 million domestically. Anyone bemoaning the dearth of original script in a movie marketplace dominated by adaptations, remake and sequels sound shooting theory but thrilled by Christopher Nolan's Interstellar, sprawling metaphysical science fiction epic that's nothing if not original. Interstellar does engage in share of image and borrowing from film history. We open on a car chase through a cornfield that's thrown era updating cinematic stage in North by Northwest. The plot about a group of astronauts sent into space to investigate a mysterious anomaly. Aquacity recalled at 2001, a space the use of special effect to communicate radical perspectual shift comes courtesy of Matrix. But for better or worse, Interstellar Storm Bernie remains own worked out. Inevitable self-century spanning family soap opera that's simultaneously co-warm space opera, and a seriously philosophical statistics on both human morality and the concept of time, and possibly of unsatisfying also a dystopian environmental probable of some kind or other. There might be a few more channels that would comfortably fit into the roomy 169 minutes running time of Interstellar, a movie I snickered at more than once but ever stopped staring at in wonder. This is not Nolan's best film by any stretch, but it abounds inequalities that are among his trend evoking a sense of visual art, crafting politically sleek large-scale action sequences remember the summer-setting scene in The Dark Knight. The casting actor, especially male ones, who deliver for fierce and memorable performance even in roles that are less than fully fleshed out. Unfortunately, Interstellar also showcases some of Nolan's persistent weakness, dialogue written by Nolan and his brother, and frequent writing partner Jonathan that lays out the film's big ideas and themes with the acidity of a new employee at a whiteboard. Female characters who spend most of their screen time, however much they are given, as either homemade or victim, and a tendency toward intellectual and auditory bombast. Here's a Michael's Kenny blowing quite a bite of Dylan. Thomas do not go to gentle into that good night as a spacecraft launches, definitively into the straight hands, Zimmer booming music jerking for a splicing mix. I actually watched the entirety of Interstellar's waiting from earplugs brought along for that purpose. Because Chris Nolan movie like that metal concert are best attended wearing some sonic safety gear, especially if the film is being screened in IMAX as Interstellar will be in some theater on it open number 7. The earplugs came in the handy right away in that gorgeously short opening foreign field sequences in which equally gorgeous single dad Cooper and his children, Tom and Morph, chase a descending drone until it crashes in the field, then throws it into the back of their truck to take it apart from salvage. The exact nature of the physics is dystopia. Cooper and his case inhabit takes a while to establish itself, and in fact never fully emerges to its relief. We are given no explanatory date, stamp or backstory, furnishing voiceover and evolved Cooper. His children and his gentle father, John Lane, looks extremely fairy, similar to our own. There are cars and computer, functioning schools and government, even organized games of what appear to be minor league baseball. But gradually we learned that some time ago, the Earth will stop sporting any crop but corn and okra, and the last extinct okra field is about to die out. Thus storm, kicked up by the erosion of topsoil due to the worldwide blight, critically ravaged the land. The human population is on a mathematically chargeable course toward extinction, as another character grimly observed to Cooper at one point. Their children's generation is likely to be the last to survive. Cooper, who was once a crack spaceship pilot, gets recruited for, depending on how you look at it, pursued into a top-secret exploratory mission organized by what remains of NASA, an institution that's had to go underground in an era in which, for some reason, official ideology insists that the moon landing was faked. But in not like Buzz Aldrin, here you say that dystopian future, after an accumulation of seemingly supernatural coincidences, that would be too sprawling to reveal even if I could understand them. Cooper agrees to take the job. It will mean leaving his children behind on a rapidly fading planet. He is assured by NASA Chief Dr. Brand that somewhere near Saturn, scientists have located the stepness in space-time. It may be the human race only hope of escaping through a wormhole and locating a habitable planet in an otherwise impossibly distant galaxy. Get used to hearing about that wormhole, because it became the Piccadilly Circus of Interstellar, the intergalactic traffic hub around which the film's various plotless weave is interesting circle. After all, organizingly training himself away from his family, Cooper sets out for Saturn, aware that because this effect of relatively on the passage of time, he may not find his way back through the wormhole to Earth before his children's lifespans are long over. If he survives the trip at all, time is a resources like oxygen or food. He explained to his crew, pressing on time, the importance of quickly gathering data on the 3 possible planets they are investigating as replacement Earth. Meanwhile, back on the regular Earth, Tom and Bob go into the adult played by Casey Affleck and Jessica, For many years, the siblings maintained the hope that their father will return, but eventually, Tom's video message will take a year to be relayed remotely to Copper in deep space, and which can't spot ticket to the despairing heart. As for she can't forgive her dad for abandoning his own children, even if to save the human race. Interstellar is an outstanding sci-fi adventure film set in a future world where all food supply is depleting. Giant storm gas across the Earth's surface, killing the precious crops that stand in our way. With very drying food resources, man faces his coming extinction. Earth is no longer a viable option for us. We need to find a new world, a new home. And that is what Interstellar is all about. Man's journey to find a planet that can support life and allow to us to start over. The plot is extremely engaging because it revolves around an or two real premises. Human extinction, not 1 second of the movie, was done or treason, which speaks volumes for a movie with a runtime for nearly 3 hours. Recently, the science in the movie has come under criticism. Many scholars in the science community questions the possibility of some of the events. The criticism comes with a blow to the plot, given that the film's climax relies heavily on the science within the movie, while some part of the film to seem importable. It can't make the movie down for this. After all, this is a science fiction. As expected, culture for Nolan's directing is fantastic. Every scene is expertly crafted to move the plot forward. The writing Nolan's Bill Brothers Jonathan co-wrote the script is unlike any I have ever seen. It's grippingly real. In a matter of just a few minutes, we are taken in by the decaying future and the fertile overhero. Travel from their home, the more immersed we became in the film's well-constructed plot. Cinematographer Hoyt Van Hoytema blends well with Nolan's directing. Scenes are incredibly lit, leaving no confusion as to what you are looking at, which is what you should expect from a big budget movie. There is a real highlight of the cinematography are the camera angle. The camera is perfectly aligned to provide the whole picture of any given scene. One scene, the camera is close to the actor during an emotional moment. It should come as no surprise that Interstellar is incredibly Matter sees leads the film as Anasa Palad Transformer, delivers a powerful performance in the midst of his critical. This was known as the MC. His role is perfect for him, and it's his greatest performance to date. MC's between Mad Powerhouse, performances by award-winning actresses Annie Hathaway, Johan Michael. Not a single moment was poorly performed by any of the cast members. Annie was lovable in her role as Brand, while Joan played Copper's father in-law with a call it how I see it attitude. Hans Zimmer's work in Interstellar is nothing short of amazing. Each song richly enhanced the tone of the scene, making it incredibly suspenseful. Scene all the better. Much of the movie's score adds to the mystery of the film and heightens the film's level of immersion. This score will surely be an award winner. Interstellar has a big focus on human connection throughout the movie. Copper's primary motivation in his family. Everything he does or thinks about doing is for them. The film does a wonderful job showing the importance of relationship. This focus really pushed this movie above and beyond for me. The movie also mentioned the story of lasers. The space explorations are called the lasers mission since man is trying to come back from the dead, referencing their comic extinction. This was a great reference that made him crack a smile in the dark theater. The biggest issue I had with the movie was the sound quality. Most scenes were fine, but in a few scenes, it was hard to hear what the characters were saying at pivotal point. Christopher Nolan has since spoken about this issue, explaining that it was an artistic choice. Nolan purposefully did not allow the artists to hear certain parts in order to convey emotional tone. To me, it was not successful, but it wasn't a huge issue either. This film's epic contains a few scenes of cursing and soul language. It's a fairly tame when compared to most movies released today, but it is there nonetheless. This movie, being a science and film, deals with the theory of the evolution. In certain parts, there are statements saying that we need to evolve. Just a note of caution to any viewer that want to see this movie. I found Interstellar to be an exceptional space epic and one of my favorite space themed films. If you can get past the nearly 3-hour runtime, you'll surely be hooked by this judgment film. I like the film quite a bit. It's the closest thing our generation has put into another 2001, A Space Odyssey, where Kubrick has a mission threatened by a manufacturing computer. Nolan shows how much human motivation can be our undoing or our salvation. I have loved almost all of the Christopher Nolan's films, while also letting this film below The Dark Knight, Inception and Memento in the gallery of Nolan's film. It's visually spectacular, made with love of hard science fiction even if some popular scientists are picking in on it now, and has enough human drama at its heart to satisfy most audiences. I would say it's Nolan's fourth best film, ahead of the Insomnia, Batman Reagan, The Dark Knight Rises, and even the Prestige Nolan film tend to have more head than heart, and I can't say this one is fully an exception, but it's a movie in the right direction, and I can't wait to see what he gives us next cool review. So do you think humankind is going to one day take to the star? And what do you two think about the film's message about the natural scientific explanation for love, especially when it comes to heart race, dramatic speech, and things that might be supernatural? It seemed to me very cold at times. Hi Sally is Green. Thanks for the comment. I have, as we sat down in anticipation of Nolan's latest, I wondered what was about to unfold before me. I had mostly steered clear of marketing with only its initial career, which reigns in the focus to show our raised art and a natural phenomenon closing in on metros and sea copper as my guide. Almost 3 hours later, I left it cinema feeling cold, bemused, and ultimately disappointed. Despite its scope and outstanding next visual, I thought Interstellar was too long, overly sentimental, and falling on from the fit to buzz that Dark Knight Rises to Airplane left me wondering if Nolan had lost his magic touch. At 30, I barely gave Interstellar a second thought, rediscovering it afresh 10 years later at 30. Thanks in the part to being more actually aware of the passage of time, I can see it now for what it truly is, Christopher Nolan's best, most emotionally affecting work, revolving around a dying art and the effort to save people. Former NASA pilot Cooper sets off for the stars in Interstellar, alongside Dr. Amelia Brandt, in search of more hospitable plant, but most of his young daughter morphed behind. Most Nolan films have big idea, big emotions and big surprises, but almost never all three. Inception comes close to its mind-bending premise, spanning top ending, and treatment of Marian's cold pride, while leaving the dream's highest thriller feeling slightly less satisfying than desire. Interstellar's greatest triumph is that he achieved all of this. Pause the emotions for all the criticism leave out against Nolan. I won't stick out. His movies can like hard to be slightly unfeeling by their nature. That's simply not true of Interstellar, which immediately anchored the movie as a sweet family piece, including a young popping up of a new lines as Cop Tom. Interstellar came from a very personal place. Nolan plays in a Trump forms essential book by Nolan's variation. There's a reason, after all, why the working title for Interstellar is Flora's letter, a reference to his 20-year-old daughter. From that starting point, Interstellar transcends galaxies and takes in an unworkable and hostile environment, but at its very core, remains steadfast in its emotional message. Cooper is fighting to save what's waiting for him back home in his ranch. That's why Interstellar big surprises hit so hard. In past and future Nolan's movies, the director would do everything from catching Ariel B-747 to flipping rooms literally upside down for his bombastic sequences. Here, the big moment lands with a singular, but it's a gut punch rather than an explosion. In one of 21st century cinema's famous scene, which you can watch here in full. Pepsi cooperated from a plant-side mission having lost year of his film due to time dilation. Instead, where he is met by video of an adult played by Jessica growing up over a decade. Encompassing that singularly intense loss is hard and effort. Thanks in part to Nolan's personal touch, bringing out every last drop of feeling. Answers was an extremely beautiful and devastating. Respond to those missing here. Serious Murphy's lead open here. Performances rightly receives plaudits, but it does not have a moment like this. Cobb is not just grieving that has been lost. He is grieving the uniquely complex feeling as he realizes he was not able to grow old alongside Murph. The emotion had not set. Pieces are so strong enough to cap it. This is the top of many Nolan fans' ranking, but is the director's playful experimentation with place and time that really seals the deal. Case in point, Interstellar's ending feature an all-timer of twist, one that only enriches subsequent, meaning as Cobb ends its mission by traveling in 2001 SQ wormhole. It's revealed that the Ghost is first seen alone in the movie that kickstarted his voyage all the way to go communicating to himself via a four-dimensional plan. The magic of Interstellar, much like its the final appeal, is a paradoxical nature. It's about the waste and emptiness and loneliness of space and at the same time. It's an intimate story about a father and daughter. Nolan tried an impossible needle achieving both, large in part thanks to the welding together his past experiences on big Hollywood blockbusters and all the skill that comes with it, and by quitting his naysayer by presenting audiences with that rating $165 million story about Nolan's own guilt in leaving his daughter behind to go to work. So yes, hands up, I was wrong. Interstellar is Christopher Nolan's final film to date, in a body of work that encompasses the best superhero movie ever made, a Best Picture winner, and a daring Hollywood tribute in Memento that takes on brain, but Nolan's aimed for the stars and succeeded in his mission. It just took me a decade to realize that I am a senior experiment writer here at Game Illustrator, plus focusing on news, feature, and interviews with some of the biggest names in film and TV. On site, you will find me marveling at Marvel and providing analysis and room temperature takes on the newest film, Star Wars, and of course anime. Outside of GR, I love getting lost in a good 100-hour GRPG Warzone and kicking back on the virtual field with Football Manager. My work has also been featured in OPM, Fort 2, and Game Evolution. I enjoyed this movie subsequently. The film's emotional and philosophic scientist rules beneath the excellent action and CGI-based effect resulted in an excellent theatrical experiences. First, I walked into the movie trying not really watch the trailer, nor read any informational pieces about Interstellar. I know it was good, and it had something to do with space, but that's about it. With that, I remember speculating with a friend about what was happening, especially in the beginning. The plot seems natural, but like it's unraveling with Savior. The story knows not to dump information, and it does a good job for building the foundation of the world slowly. By maintaining interest, it does my favorite thing, establish an emotional bond to the character that will be revisited throughout the film. Cooper and his daughter Murphy live in a world being consumed by dust. That is almost uninhabitable, and this is the perhaps end. Obviously, we know it's not. Cooper's wife seemed to have died, and he left with his two children and his wife's father. MC was phenomenal as Cooper. He was restless, angry with it but quite capable. His character was always willing with ambition and was needed to be versus the family he could never leave. There is one part later on where it hurt me to see its face as a grief as palpable. I can't speak of one acting performances that I did not like, and in saying that, let me clarify. This film's detriment was not its acting. The acting was not a weakness in its slightest. but the true thread trend was the storytelling, the amazing script, and the production value. The production was cinematic and beautiful. It had all the beautiful and quite scary space shots that you could ever want. The music built an exotic tension etc. But I think one of my favorite elements was the use of silence. How often did you have a scene with complete silence for a few moments? Interstellar used silence into advantage several times. Although I may have denied it once by cursing. Anything Christopher Nolan's grasp of tension and his vision for the film seemed true. The story was complete with many peaks and valleys, some of them rather expected. And I said earlier that I teared up several times because what happened was too horrible not to. The weakest part to Interstellar was the ending, which is a mindfuck but because what's happening is unclear. Actually, that is flaw or recurring theme, because it's not necessarily a flaw it was introduced, and obviously in dimension Interstellar prided itself in a being big story that did deal with the abstract and philosophical ideas. There was a sense of purpose and destiny well implied throughout the entire story, and it wasn't like what's happened was literally written in the star. If you don't like those types of storyline, you may not like Interstellar, but I love them. After finishing Interstellar, all I want to do is carry up with the laptop and listen to some Carl Sagan and then perhaps the research space a little more. I highly recommend Interstellar and the best movie I have seen in a long time. Interstellar is a Christopher Nolan movie exploring the vast galaxy through a time and space paradox. The movie primarily focuses on life. Earth is coming to an end, and a few are traveling to find another home at the end of the galaxy. Hans Zimmer has created an excellent background score to cover up the visual effect through the eyes of the camera. The movie has an excellent cast, which includes the MC Annie Hathaway and Michael Sani. Well, the movie starts with a family where Anasa lives with his children and his father-in-law in this beginning. It will be noticeable that the corn is getting destroyed. The younger daughter is always afraid of ghosts living in the house where the ghost always message morph with some symbol. It is likely that there will be a dust storm someday when the ghost will try to communicate with Morph and her family again. Being a NASA astronaut, Cooper will understand the message and he can predict what the ghost is trying to say. Analyzing the pattern of the symbol reveals that it is the location of an unknown place which has later known to the NASA. At NASA, the scientist, Dr. Brand, comes to tell us that the world is going to end and they are looking for some astronaut who will help them to find another world somewhere in the galaxy or another galaxy for the sustainability of the future. Dr. Brand has a team of scientists and a robot, but they require a pilot with actual practical experience for the future of Morph and Trinity. Cooper will accept his mission and he will go to find another world or another home for the future generation. This is the beginning of the movie Interstellar. As you watch the movie, there is many aspects like the space-time paradox or parallel world to this theory of the relativity. For instance, they will find a planet similar to Earth while traveling on the planet for his inspiration. When Cooper returns to the spaceship, they will notice that a half hour on the planet is 24 years apart, equivalent to most of the lifespan of children. At the end of the movie, when Cooper and Amelia find out that everything was planned by Dr. Brand and he was trying to save a couple of scientists and astronauts, including his daughter. Hearing this, Cooper wanted to return home to connect with his daughter and son, which was lately already too late for the timeline. While going through the wormhole, Cooper entered portal and got connected to the bookshelf in Morph's room, where she used to live. So he tried to connect with Morph through the dust later in the movie. Morph, in his older age, realizes that the ghost was one non-dead adult's father. Interestingly, Nolan has studied with the other scientists the design of the black hole. It is not randomly designed. After analyzing this with the other scientists, they created this graphical black hole, which is somewhat similar to a real black hole when studied in the future. Nolan has used some fine-rooming camera shots for massive coverage of space, which justifies and suits the character of the movie. It's a movie that blends science and drama with good visual effect, a background score, and an excellent cast. Also, very dramatic scene Zimmer made was so good to watch that it something felt like a classic Nolan movie with an excellent background score. The audiences was already reminded that they were getting a award of movies like Batman. The prestige it received, the movie has won many awards, starting with the Academy Award for the Best Visual Effect, the Empire Award for Best Director, and Best Film. It was really a mind-boggling movie experiences. Coppola and his daughter Murphy lies an award being consumed by dust. That is almost uninhabitable, and this is perhaps the end. Obviously, we know it's not. Copper's wife seems to have died, and he is left with his two children and his wife father. Copper has loved his family, but it's really Murph and Copper's relationship that shines through. First, our Murphy does a good job capturing her character, curiosity, but also her emotionality as a child. She is sarcastic and shy, but also resilient, and she makes her character quite relatable and lovely. I thought she did appear a little older than she was supposed to be in several scenes, but she would win me over again with a pout or smile. The production was cinematic and beautiful. It had all the beautiful and quiet, scary space shot you could never ever want. The music built and assumed tension simply. Thing of my favorite elements was the use of the silence. How often you have us seen with compromises and silence of a new momentum. Interstellar used to sing to its advantage several times. Although I may have ruined it once by cursing, and I think Christopher Nolan's grasp of tension and his vision for the films aimed through. The story was complete with many people. Peaks with building, some of them that are unexpected. And I said earlier that I theatered silent him because what happened was too horrible not to. The weakest part to Interstellar was the ending, and that Interstellar is still an impressive at times. Movie that overwhelmed me to the point where my usual objection to Nolan's work melted away. I read the first paragraph of this review that with those vibrations they could play apply to any Nolan's picture, post Batman being in. He's who he is so that people know that he was still doing the thing that Nolan's always does. Whether you find those things endearing or irritating will depend on your efficiency of Nolan's style. In any case, there is something pure and powerful about this movie. I can't recall a science fiction film heart sold to the actors' fans as multiplex, awesome in which so many major characters wept openly in close-up. Voices breaking, tears streaming down their cheek. Widows Ashton Cooper and his colleague. They are separated from everything that defines them. Their loved ones, their personal histories, their culture, the planet itself, other characters including Emilia's father. And astrophysics is played by Michael Caine, and the space explorer played by an unbilled guest actor, who's holed up on a forbidden architect but express our vulnerability to loneliness and doubt its quite few for this character. The film's central family, added by Cooper, grounded after the demonstrating of NASA, lies on a corn farm, a forgotten estate like the gentle lawns in Field of Dream. A film whose dirty issue, legend story, sync up nicely within the narrative of Interstellar, granted they are growing up to feed the human race which is wilding away its 3 million hour on a planet so ecologically devastated that it at first you mistake it for the American dust to a bowl circa 1930 or so. But there is still something amusingly tricky about the notion of corn as systems, especially in a survival story in which the future of humanity is at stake. Allen, Humanity at Stake, plays one of many witnesses in a documentary. First glimpse in the movie opening scene, Amnesty's classic Nolan style, is a setup for at least 2 twists. The state-of-the-art sci-fi landscape are deployed in the service of the hallmark cartoonist about how people should live, and what's really important, black people who have died. But is the social utility is that Accident is that the first step is evolution. After a certain point it sinks in, or should sink in, that Nolan and his co-screenwriter, brother, are not trying to hunt the specular relationship of 2001. The movie's science fiction trapping are just a wrapping for a spiritual emotional dream about basic human desire for home, for family, for continuity, as well as a horror film of sorts. One that treats the star Voyager and the outbound loved ones separation or speculative metaphor for what happens when the people we value are taken from us by that illness or unbeatable distance. Pray you never leave just a new good. It can be to see another face. Another says after a year alone in the interstellar wilderness, while Interstellar never entirely commit to the idea of non-rational, uncanny world, it nevertheless has a mystical setting, one that's unusually pronounced for a director whose storytelling has the right blend subtlety of an engineer, logician or accountant. There is a ghost in the film, writing out message to the living in dust, characters trained to interrupt distant ratio message as if they were ancient texts written in a dead language, and stars through red-rimmed eyes at video message sent years ago. By people on the other side of the cosmos, Interstellar features a family haunted by the memory of a dead mother, and then an absent father, a woman haunted by the memory of the missing father, and other woman who separated from her own dad and driven to reunite with a lover separated from her so many millions of miles that he might as well as he did, with the possible exception of the last act of Memento and the fight sequences in the Dark Knight Rises, a knife-twisting hour that was all about suffering and transcendence. I can't think of a Nolan film that let us own mystery and villainize God feeling fairly way does. Now from start to finish anyway, the most intriguing sequences are less about driving the plot forward than contemplating what the character actually mean to them, and so on. The best of these lived off sequences. It starts with a countdown here our images of Cooper leaving his family. It continues in space with Ken reading passage for Dylan, Thomas Wildnet, do not go, gentle into the good night, old age should burn, and real at close of their reach, engage it drawing out the light. If it wasn't already obvious, these sequences certifies Nolan as the most dead and control obsessed nature. The film's widest screen pronomes feature harsh, interplanetary landscape shot in the keyword art local. Some of the largest and most detailed starship main shapes evil built, and space sequences presented in scientifically accurate silence 2001. What follows high-tech leads. Interstellar has a definitely old movie feeling. It's not afraid to switch, even love between the modes. At times, the movie won't stop house shopping, storytelling, evoke the and the tender spirit of John Ford picture or a Stan Spielberg film made in the spirit of a Ford picture. A movie that would rather try to 8 or 9 things than just one. Using outer space action sequences with astronauts tumbling into zero gravity and speeding across the forbidding landscapes give away to snappy comic portal between the Cooper and the ship's robot. Towards designed in the Minecraft style pixels, each boxes and voiced by Bill Levin. There are box explanatory dry erase board. These linguists that are less spaces than mind. Spaces and tearful separation and reconciliation that might as well be played silent in tinted black and white and scored with a silent piano. Originated Interstellar in 2006 but dropped out to be that other project. MC a super intense actor who wholeheartedly commit to the every line and moment he is given. In the light leading man for this kind of film, Cooper proudly identifies himself as an engineer as well as an astronaut and farmer, but he has the soul of good ball. For it, poet when he is here at energetic visits he grins like a kid at an amusement park, waiting to ride a new roller coaster. Copper's farewell to his daughter Maud, who was played by the MC Canisi for as a young girl, is shot very close in and hit in a warm, grading tones, and has some of the tenderness of the porch swing sends him to kill a mocking. When Morph grows up into what Jessica just done, a key member of Sans NASA, he made a show great for the daughter. Then the elder brand lost to the mission. We keep thinking about the goodbye scene and how it encouraged us everything that Morph and Cooper are trying to do, while also realizing that similar feeling drive the other characters. Indeed, the rest of the expresses. One suspect. This is a deeply personal film for Nolan. It's about a man who feels he's seen about God to a particular job and whose work requires him to spend long period away from his family. The movie's storytelling masterstroke comes from adherence to principle of relatively. The astronauts perceive the F differently depending on where entrance is, which means the one go down into a prospective habitable world. A few minutes there equal weeks or months back on the ship. Meanwhile, on Earth, everyone is aging and losing hope. Under such circumstances, even tedious housekeeping type exchange become momentous. One has to be think twice before arguing about what to do next, because while the argument is happening, people elsewhere are going grave or suffering depression from being alone or writing and dying. Here more so than in any other Nolan film, and they are seeing a plot. Time is the everything. I am an old psychiatrist, Brent tells in the film. I am afraid of time. Time is something we are fear. There is a ticking clock governing every aspect of existence, from the global to the family. Every act by every character in an act of defense, born of which do not do gently. Fortunately for the star, Annie Hathaway's Christopher Nolan movies are among her most financially successful and critically acclaimed projects. Hathaway first worked with Nolan in 2012, playing Catwoman in The Dark Knight Rises. That blockbusters earned over $1 billion at the box office and a spot 87% on Rotten Tomatoes, cementing Hathaway status as one of the world's biggest stars. The same year saw Hathaway win Best Supporting Actress for Les Miserables 4 years after her nomination for Best Actress in 2008. Rachel's Getting Married. Interstellar gave Hathaway her third biggest financial success of her career when the movie made $730 million upon release. 2 years later, Hathaway and Nolan collaborated for a second time on the sci-fi drama. Interstellar gave her the third biggest financial success for her career when the movie made $730 million upon release. Although 2010 Alice in Wonderland did make more at the box office, matching the $1 billion payday of Dark Knight. Rises' critical reception was far less favorable than that of the Nolan's two collaborations. As such, Nolan's mysterious new movie casting is exciting news for the actor's future. Fortunately, earning case is almost beginning before Nolan cast her in his latest project. Director Michael, The Idea of You, adapted from Ruby Lee's novel of the same name, reintroduced viewer to charms as a rom-com lead and the art-positive viewer. Upcoming project of Fellow for Wall Street Outstanding Event, MC Georgia will be the first effort from it follows director David Robert Mitchell since 2018. This undergoing movie was already generating buzz before Nolan's casting announcement, and 2012's WeWork drama mini-series We Crashed New is singled out of praise as WeWork's Rebecca Newman. The upcoming Princess Diaries 3 rounds out career comeback nicely, harkening back to her beginning as a Disney star, long before she played Catwoman in The Dark Knight Rises. First came to prominence in this coming-of-age comedy, releases in 2001. The Princess Diaries started as a geeky, awkward, teenage girl who learned she was an unlikely heir to the European kingdom from her endlessly patient grandmother, Julie Andrew Corliss, Alto Ella, Enchanted and the Princess Diaries 2, The royal engagement struggled to recapture the original movie's drawn. Princess Diary could be the nostalgic trait for her long-term fans. That said, Nolan's new movie is even more exciting than Princess Diary 3, and his upcoming Christopher Nolan movie could be her Duchess' biggest hit yet. Judging by the success of the director's study 2023 effort, Oppenheimer that historical biopic managed to make over $1 billion at the box office despite facing competition from Barbie, the biggest movie of the year, considering the star power that Nolan has already assembled for his new movie. This project could soon become Hotwell's biggest project in over a decade. In this case, Nolan's movies could not arrive at a better time. The idea of you brought her back to the prominence, while the upcoming flowers will certainly proves that a few high-profile flops have not stopped her from pursuing risky, interesting project. The Princess Diaries 3 could be a perfect reminder of her oldest franchise's enduring appeal and the chance for Hathaway to flex her comedic musical again. The best Interstellar covers not only some of the theme of movie but are generally broad provoking lines. Josh Cooper and his daughter Mauve are only two of the highly intelligent characters that make up the core cast of the movie, with scientists, astronauts, and advanced robots as the main character. Interstellar is bursting with smart dialogue about scientific and philosophical concepts. As a black hole and a wormhole in space feature prominently in the movie's plot, there's a lot of theatrical sense being mentioned in the dialogue throughout Interstellar. However, the best quote after deep insight into the minds of this Interstellar's main character, many of the core relationships in the film change drastically